I grew up knowing that I was Polish, but, I don't know, it was the 60s and 70s, it's like who you are, the culture you're born into, it's an accident of fate, right? And it was really only in the 1980s, in the mid-1980s, that I started to realize, really did a shift in what it meant to me and why it was important. And one of the reasons, there were a confluence of reasons, really, that made that happen at that time in my life. One of them was that my father died and my grandmother died, and so you always start, re-examining your life and thinking about, well, what did these people leave you with, and what was their influence on you? And it changed my life. I mean, I reconnected with family in Poland. I really, came to have a second family and a second home. And really, my life went in another direction. And from there, I went to decided to go to grad school and study ethnicity and immigration. I mean, it really was a turning point in my life because of all, this just confluence of things that seemed unrelated and all came together to make me Polish. And poor Matt, we'd already been together since 79, and this was the mid 80s. So, that's not what he bought, And that's how we ended here, That's really, really, it changed my life in just profound ways. One thing that I felt really connected with was, a time that didn't exist anymore, and a way of life that for all intents and purposes doesn't exist anymore. And in some ways it's, romantic. I think that one of the themes that runs through my life is saving things that other people overlook, or that other people don't see the beauty in, or think are obsolete or whatever, and revaluing it, whether it's a piece of clothing, whether it's, an old, cup. And if it's chipped, all the better, because that means that somebody used it, But because, I like places that are worn around the edges, because they're used and lived in, and that have and that because of that have an authenticity, and that's what why I always loved Hamtramck. It's funky.